What's going on, New Canoe Nation? Welcome, Facebook, YouTube. Good to see you folks in the chat tonight. Drop in the comments where you're tuning in from, what boat you're floating out of. We don't even care if it's not a new. We're just glad you're here to talk. Make some questions for our guest, Craig Brashears, in the house tonight, our newest member of Team New Canoe. So this is his introduction to Team New. You know, we've had quite a few return guests lately. So I said, let's get fresh. Let's get one of these new guys on, get them a little bit of exposure, talk about what they're about, where they're from, what they do, how they unlimit themselves on the water. Real quick, boys and girls, if you guys don't follow me, I do another podcast, Paddle and Fin, and we just relaunched the fantasy kayak fishing game. That's right, fantasy. It's like fantasy football, boys and girls. You guys can get signed up. I will drop a link to all the info for that. You know, you could put some of your favorite team new members on there. It follows all the national tournament trails, and it's a good time. It's just like fantasy football, but for kayak fishing. So it's pretty epic. I will drop that link down below for you guys right now. You guys can go get signed up. It's free. There's prizes that you can win, things like that. So we appreciate you guys. If you have to leave the show early, you could always go back, rewatch on Facebook, YouTube, catch it on any major podcast platform. Just search New Canoes Unlimited. We got some folks in the house. Mr. Nicholas Beltran, he said, "Oh, what a night." My good man, Matt Lintzman, up there in the frozen tundra of the UPA. And let's get the show started. Let's get our guest of the evening in the house, Mr. Craig Brashears. What's up, my man?
What's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. Glad to have you here. Welcome to Team New Canoe. I know you just got put on the team this year, man. So congratulations.
Appreciate
And
it.
thanks for joining us tonight, man.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
So let's get a little background on you, man. Where you're from, what kayak you're floating out of, and what got you into New Canoe, man.
So from Virginia Beach, coast guy. Don't actually do a ton of saltwater fishing at all. Do some, not a bunch. Mostly fresh. I will be in an unlimited here very, very soon. Other than that, it's bass, snakehead, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man, you're chasing all kinds of goofy critters up there in the Northeast. I mean, is Virginia Beach considered the Northeast? I always get that confused because you guys are like right there on the line, right?
Well, you think if you go back, man, Richmond, Virginia was the capital of the South, so I guess we're south.
You're
don't even
somewhere
know.
around there.
It's a military town, so everybody's from everywhere here.
Sure, which is cool. I've been through there once. I'm not gonna lie. Once I was a kid, and it's that whole eastern seaboard, northeastern seaboard from Virginia all the way up, man, is a pretty cool area.
It is. It's we got some fishing that happens here, so that's good.
Well, that's why we kind of wanted to talk to you, man. I know, you mentioned bass. We always have bass guys on here. What I really want to talk to you about tonight is chasing these snakeheads, man. They've kind of been a newer species that you're seeing all across, America, so to speak, and they're weird little creatures, man. So, I mean, what got you into chasing snakehead?
A friend of mine actually said, "Hey, let's go catch these things," and they're really like a fish that you chase in the middle of summer. They like the hot. You can catch them at this time of year. It's not the easiest thing to do, but they're just fun to catch. I mean, because they're evil. I mean, they're flat evil fish to catch. I throw topwater frogs at them, and they will smash it like a giant largemouth, but they'll go ripping across the water like they're a redfish. And people that have ever caught a redfish would understand that. But I mean, they're batshit crazy. You pull them out of the water and they lose their mind. So
They're kind of weird looking too, man. I'm gonna pull up a picture of one here. I'm looking for a good example. But correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the fish that can go up on land as well?
I would think it could because it's a air breather. So
Right.
I mean, and they're not afraid of anything, which is kind of cool. But I can't see where they have. At the very beginning, we started hearing about, and they're saying they're going to just decimate the fish populations around them. But I personally haven't seen that. I caught a 32-inch snakehead, coasted down a little bit in this little river thing, and flipped into this little open spot and caught a 22-inch largemouth.
Huh.
So, but I've seen them hanging with brim. I mean, just kind of everybody floating around together. I'm sure they eat some of that stuff. That's how they get big. But you just don't see what you think is. They said it was going to decimate the fish population, but I just didn't see it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Anytime you get an invasive species like that, that's like the first worry, it seems like. But just reading up here, this is on the Missouri Department of Conservation. I guess they originated from Asia and Africa, which is crazy. And I guess they're finding them in southern Missouri right now, from what this is saying too.
Oh wow, yeah. My understanding, the first place they started to find them was up Maryland, Upper Potomac, Pennsylvania, up that way. I think John Ost has even seen them up Susquehanna and places like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's an interesting fish, man. And I know a lot of people now are chasing them down because they're just like you said, they're a ferocious fish.
And
And
they're fun. I mean, the very first one I caught actually ate up the inside of a Revo winch.
oh jeez,
it broke it.
that's
So
crazy. Well, and they got some gnarly teeth too. I'm pulling this picture up, man, because this is pretty gnarly. Look at those teeth, man.
yeah, they do. You don't put your hand in their mouth. Have fish grippers.
You mean you can't lip that like a bass?
Sure you can.
Sure you can. Don't call me for a Band-Aid.
You might want a shark glove on, but yeah, you can lip it if you want.
It's interesting. So, I mean, when you're fishing for these things, you said they're air breathers. So, are they like typically sitting up towards the surface? Will they be more like towards the bottom? Are you throwing like top water baits for these things?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Okay.
um, I've had them where I've thrown a top water and I've actually watched the fish chase the bait all the way to the boat. And then you figure eight it, kind of like you would do with a muskie or something like that.
Sure.
And it will just look at you. You'll
Interesting.
pick it up, you'll pick the bait up out of the water and it'll go, and then he'll chase it back to the boat sometimes. Got into throwing chatterbaits at them, and they will crush a chatterbait.
Well, you tuned in, I think it was last show, talking about the jackhammer.
Yeah.
And I mean, with those kind of teeth, that could be an expensive day on the water, my friend.
Yeah, I don't throw jackhammers at those. I throw the cross eyes. Yeah, you don't throw a jackhammer at that. I mean, people do, but I mean, these fish can actually straighten a hook out if at times.
That's crazy. I mean, the closest thing we have to those up here, and I'm on the border of Illinois and Wisconsin, and I remember, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2020. I went and fished a small Wisconsin club event, and my one buddy was throwing jackhammers all day, and he lost 7 in one
Oh,
tournament and had to go home and explain that to his wife. And mostly it was either he was mostly getting bit off by a northern pike, which was an inexpensive day. He said,
yeah.
what did he say? I have to go home and explain to my wife how I lost not only the tournament, but an additional, I think it was like $200 or something, $300.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't throw jackhammers at snakehead. That's just not going to happen.
It's interesting. I mean, sometimes they're going to go for it when you're chasing bass, right? I mean, that's how it is with pike up here. You just never know.
Yeah, that's kind of a bucket list fish for me. I want to catch a pike, a big one.
Northern pike. Well, here you go, man. I'm going to set you up because Matt Lintzman's in the chat and he said that's a bucket lister. Referring to the snakeheads, still has yet to go for him, and we like toothy critters. He's up in the UP, and I know he could put you on some good pike up there. So,
Matt, come fish the KBF at the Upper Potomac this year, and you can find them. You're going to find both fishing those waters. You'll find both fish, largemouth and snakehead.
Nice, interesting. So, are you a tournament guy? Do you fish a lot of tournaments, man?
I will be fishing a bunch this year. My first event this year is going to be the BOS at Santee Cooper.
Okay, very cool.
Just because Toledo Bend's 23 hours away from my house.
Trust me, I know the feeling. I've always wanted to go fish the 10 Invitational down in Kissimmee, and normally I'm working the Chicago Fishing Show. This year it got canceled, so I'm going to Kissimmee, and it's like a 19 and a half hour drive for me.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous drive. I mean, all these Texas tournaments, Alabama's a long way from me. It's because I'm so far to the coast.
Sure.
If I was a little more central or Virginia, it would make it easier. But for all the southern highways, it's an hour and a half drive.
Oh, wow.
Just to get to the southern highways to head down that way. So
interesting. So, are you going to be focusing on the BOS series this year, or are you going to kind of do a combination of?
I'm going to do a combination. I know I'm doing Santee Cooper. I'm thinking about doing the stop up north, just because my good buddies at One Objective, they're going to be going up there, so okay. I may tag along with them and go up for that one. KBF event in Virginia, which is going to tie into a VKT tournament. That's a local trail here. So mostly there'll be some tournaments I'll have to figure out, but I'm pretty much going to cover my local trail here this summer. Okay. So
very cool, man. Very cool. You a motor guy? You using the pivot drive? You paddling?
Pivot drive will happen soon. XI3. I'm a big front trolling motor guy. I love the XI3.
Nice. Matt is saying he fished the Potomac last year with no snakehead love, caught bass only, which was the target. And he's asking, is that event in April again this year?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
All right.
It probably is.
Okay.
But I'll have to look it up because
right
I don't
on.
remember. I know my first one's in March, and then there's a couple in April, and there's a couple in I think I'm doing 2 tournaments every month this summer. So
nice. So you'd be busy grinding it out, man.
Yeah. So I'm fortunate. My wife fishes with me every time I go. She goes. So
cool, man.
She's XI3, 6 rods, fish finder. She's got everything.
So that's your get out of jail free card. Like, hey, I'm going fishing this tournament this weekend. You want to go?
That's why I can throw jackhammers, because I'm buying jackhammers for her.
Oh, that's great. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I might have to have a long conversation with the wife tonight and get her back into fishing more. Interesting, but back to the motor. You're using the XI3, man. What do you like most about using that on the front of the boat?
Anchor mode, offshore fishing.
Okay, you're a big offshore guy.
Both, yeah, because there's times that drop shot is working and fishing deep up.
Okay.
So it's kind of a technique I use with jackhammer. I kind of throw it like a jig and fish it like a jackhammer. It's kind of a weird combination.
Yeah, I can relate to that because I fish a jackhammer, not like what most will typically do, which is cast it out and reel it back in. I do a little little yo-yo action and a few other odd things that seem to work for me, man.
Exactly. I throw to slack, pick it up, let it drop, and then
Yep.
grab it on the drop. And we got, what lake is it that we went to last year, which was Sandy River here in Virginia. And my smallest fish that day doing that was 18 and a half.
Yeah, I've had some really good success during the spawn running it like that over beds, and it just it fires those fish up. I don't know what it is, man, but I've gotten some pretty big bites off that, but yeah, it can make for a pretty killer day, man.
Yeah, and a lot of people throw Ned Rig. I probably am throwing a type of Ned Rig too.
Sure.
I throw Kitech. Everybody's heard of Kitech. I love their stuff. Most people don't like it because it's too soft. It gets ripped up really easy, but
Can't beat the action of it though,
it
man.
works. It catches a lot of fish. Um, but it'll be a 16th ounce, 3-inch easy shiner. It looks like bait fish. And I kind of fish it just like a Ned Rig, and it does well. The downsize a lot of times will catch fish. One of the pictures that you used in the thing where I'm holding up that bass, that was a no-go all day. Nobody was catching fish, and I just downsized and flipped it, and that's 21.
Oh wow.
And that was on a 3/0 hook with a 3-inch bait.
Nice.
So
Nice. They grow 'em big out there, man. I've always heard of big fish being caught out your way, man.
yeah, the king around here is a guy named Mr. Brown. That guy
Yeah.
catches big fish.
Well, it's one of those things like I get folks all the time like, where are you from? And I'm Illinois. You guys got fish there? Like it's kind of that same thing with Virginia Beach. You guys aren't known for huge bass, but they're definitely there. They can definitely be caught. And a lot of states like that get overlooked, man.
Yeah, I do sub fishing in Virginia Beach. There's not a lot of. I mean, there is good places to fish here. I fish a lot in Suffolk, Virginia, out that way.
Okay.
But Virginia Beach, man, you get some of these places around here that are just loaded with cypress, and you can just annihilate them off cypress trees.
That's my jam right there. I love fishing just submerged trees and feeling like you're in the jungle. It's fun stuff, man. Especially with a jig right at the base of the trees, man.
Yep.
Fun stuff. Fun stuff. So cool, man. So you're getting you said you got an unlimited coming. What are you looking forward to most about that boat?
Space.
Yeah.
So my last boat, I mean, was a great boat. Don't get me wrong. It was an awesome boat. A lot of limited space with this big open deck. After being in it, I was just like, I got to have this. This thing is phenomenal. And then I spent a day in it, did some stupid stuff like stepped over the drive and stood in the nose of it and didn't flip the boat over. And I'm 6'3", 275 pounds.
We're about the same. Yeah.
And I didn't lose it. Now, it wasn't comfortable, but
Yeah.
but I mean, I spent 12 hours in that boat fishing that day, and I didn't get out sore, nothing. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this will work for me. I'm not sore getting out of it. And I got out of a very comfortable boat. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, man. And that's the thing too. I was just talking to somebody just the other day about the new Millennium seats for New Canoe, man. Like the old seats weren't horrible, but they weren't the greatest. I'm not gonna lie. In this new Millennium seat that New Canoe came out with, it's world of difference in the comfort, man. Like you said, you could spend 10, 12 hours and you feel fresh getting out of the boat. You know what I mean?
it was not bad. It was not bad. Now, I had to get used to that 360 seat thing. I spun a couple times and gave myself a little heart murmur because it just, I would turn to read something in the black pack and the seat went with me. And that just messed with me a little bit until I got used to it. But that was the one about the only time I thought I was going in the water.
Right.
just because I wasn't anticipating the seat moving the way it did.
Buzz is asking Fusion seat. Yes, Fusion seat. They're made by Millennium, but it is the Fusion seat. You are correct. I stand corrected. I was wrong. You were right. You're the best. I'm the worst. But, what do you think is going to be your favorite accessory that you're going to throw on that unlimited?
I don't know, because we're going to be building some stuff for that.
Okay, all right.
So
Anything you want to spill the juice on, or is
not
this
yet.
all top secret right now?
Not yet. We got to get the boat, make sure some of the ideas I want to do are going to work. Work with my good buddies over at One Objective.
Okay,
Most everybody has heard of them.
sure.
And we're just gonna come up with some stuff.
Nice.
There's
like
some
it.
stuff. Some underseat stuff we're gonna work on.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that. But yeah, there's gonna be some cool stuff coming from One Objective on that.
I like it. I like it. They always put out good stuff, and I'm always interested to see what those guys do. You know,
If they get the boat, they build. That's the key, man. It's getting the boats to be able to, come up with a plan to build a mount for it and those kind of things. So,
yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from, man. Like I do a lot of work with Yak Gadget, and it's the same thing. You know, if he doesn't have boats, he's like, how am I supposed to design this? I can't go off of just numbers.
looking at a picture, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I totally feel you on that, man, because I've been chatting with him about some underseat stuff, more for batteries, because I'm running that new EPS motor this year and trying to figure out a way to get my batteries to fit under my seat. So,
Right. So my battery, of course, I've got a 100 amp, 12 volt 100 amp hour battery. We're probably going to build a box
okay,
that my big battery will fit in, and then on top of that, my 2 Aquas will fit. I run a pair of Aquas to build a 20 amp hour battery, basically, for my electronics, and build a box that we can actually T-bolt down in that space all the way at the back of the boat. So
okay, all right. Yeah, see, I got troubles because I'm running the EPS and I'm running 2 12 volt 100 amp hour batteries because it's a 24 volt motor. So
that's got to last for like 2 years.
I do a lot of running and gunning. We'll leave it at that. So that's my issue, but I'm working on that. That
to me was I looked at the EPS. That was the only thing that was like kind of a drawback for me, was having to use that much space for batteries. And that was my only drawback to it.
We got our man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Wizard Romel says, I know someone that can make that stuff. And don't worry, you were on my list of people to message. So get ready. And shout out to Romel, because all right, I'm gonna share a funny story with you guys. I was a complete idiot setting up my EPS motor, and I'm running lithium batteries, like I said. Got everything set up on the boat. It was easy as can be. I did that podcast with Romel back a few weeks ago, and he set up this whole EPS on a new canoe while we were on the podcast, and it was easy.
Oh, I watched that show.
And I got everything hooked up. I hooked up the batteries and power up the controller, and it says E8. And I'm like, what the heck is E8? And I look in the manual, and it's like, battery's not compatible. And I messaged Romel. I think it was like Sunday, like middle of the day. And I'm like, dude, what did I do wrong? Like, I'm sitting here freaking out. Like, I'm leaving for Kissimmee in a week. Did I just fry out my motor? How am I going to get a new motor in a week? And he's like, bro, hit mode. And I'm like, what? Hit mode. You got to switch it to lithium instead of lead acid. So that's what the problem was. If you're running lithium batteries, make sure you hit mode, and your Newport will work just fine. So might help to read some instructions, but I'm not that guy. So just
they're
saying.
Instructions to most men.
But No, man, it's cool. We wanted to, like I said, get you on here and just kind of give you an introduction, man. You're one of the new members of the team. New. What dealer are you working with out in Virginia Beach?
Great Outdoor Provision Company.
Okay, how long have they been around?
Oh, good Lord, 10 or 15 years.
Okay,
They've been around. They've got a store here. They've got stores in North Carolina. They've got them. They've got them in a handful of places.
nice. And what's their stock like on new canoes currently?
I think they have a Flint.
Okay,
Most of
They
their
get-
stuff that comes in is already sold.
okay.
So
So if you're looking for get over there, get a deposit down, and get on the waiting list, is what you're saying.
pretty much, that's what
I
it seems like.
I trust me. I hear you, my man. My dealer out here, Rocktown Adventures. It's the same thing. Like a shipment of boats comes in, and they just go right out the door within the next week. So, um, we got Buzz Byerline in the chat, and he says, "Do you get out to Green Top in Richmond?"
I normally do at this time of year. That's about a 2.5 hour drive for me. At this time of year, I do because the Virginia Fishing Expo was supposed to happen this weekend, but they canceled it. Virginia does not do well with snow. We're supposed to get a big snowstorm this weekend.
We got Robert Brown in the chat. He says,
Yeah, that's the man, the
Series?"
myth, the legend when it comes to jig fishing right there.
I've heard stories. But no, very cool, man. Well, welcome to the team.
I appreciate it.
Any final thoughts, somebody you want to shout out, things like that, man? The floor is all yours.
Just shout out to Rug Fishing, everything they do for me. One objective, especially new canoe at this point, new canoe. Kitech, they do a lot to help me with my year. I think is that about it? I think that's about it.
I always say if I forgot somebody, I apologize, but you are the
Yeah,
best.
I probably did forget somebody. Oh, Yak Attack. Good Lord, John Hipsher would have my head in a vice.
Very cool, man. Well, again, man, congrats on getting on the team. Welcome to the family, and we appreciate you taking the time out to sit down, talk tonight, talk a little snakehead fishing, talk about the new rig setup, and just talk about all things new canoe, man.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Boys and girls, if you jumped in late, you can always go back, rewatch on Facebook, YouTube. It also gets uploaded right after the show to all the major podcast platforms. You can go find us there. Just search New Canoes Unlimited. Next week's show will actually be Monday night. We're usually here every Tuesday night, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock out on the West Coast. But next week, I got to do it on Monday because Tuesday, I'm down to Florida, boys and girls. So we're going to do the show a day early next week. So be on the lookout. Till next time, guys and gals, tight lines.